County Board of Education work session to order. If you'll please join me as we say the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do not have special recognition this evening or any public participation that I'm aware of. So moving on, can we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve our minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, Ms. Robinson, our financial report.
Good evening. The Newton County School System SPLOST 4 distribution is $951,398, which is an increase of $15,695 from last month's collection. The average for the first 7 months of SPLOST, the salaries and benefits for August for 10-month employees are accrued into fiscal year 15, as these payments are for work for the 14-15 school year. Most of our August QBE revenues apply to these salaries and benefits, so they have also been accrued into fiscal year 15. At this time, expenditures are within budget at 5.51% spent, with 16.67% of the year complete. We are still waiting on the final collections for the 2015 from the tax commissioner, which we should receive those this week or early next week. And then we will hope to have a final correct fund balance at the October meeting.
All right, thank you. Any questions? There are none. Dr. Lockhart, operations.
Yes, Madam Chair. Just a few items with the operations report. Maintenance and operations. Maintenance received 1,374 work requests in August, with 1,136 having been completed. There are 238 remaining work orders in progress. Under school transportation, item 2, the average per gallon cost for diesel fuel purchased during August was $2.08. One last thing to share with you under procurement, item 2. The procurement department was awarded the 20th Annual Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award for 2015 from the National Purchasing Institute. The award recognizes excellence in procurement by measuring organizations against standardized benchmarks that represent best practices within the profession. Newton County School System was one of 5 school systems in Georgia and one of only 25 school systems throughout the year. I'd like to share with you on the capital projects. Project meeting for the Eastside High track and field renovations has been held, and we're moving forward with that project. That concludes the operations report.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
I have one question, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
When did we say the track should be completed? Will it be ready by spring?
We are looking, Ms. Loomis, I want to say that'll be done within the, we actually have trench drains that'll be installed in the next few weeks. Do we have an actual timetable?
Sometime in the spring.
Okay.
All right. Excuse me. Moving on to our curriculum instruction and technology report.
Yes, ma'am. Just have 3 items to bring before you before our presentation. Number 1, we have 5 new elementary robotics teams that were added to our existing 5 middle school teams and 4 high school teams. Our middle school engineering teachers participated in robotics training during the month of August. Item 2, the STEM leadership team held its first meeting of the year to discuss rollout and STEM direction in Newton County School System. And the third item, our Newton County School System PE teachers sponsored an interactive PE party for parents and students. The party was held at Newton High School. Students and parents learned about making good food choices and how to stay physically active. Unless there are other questions, that concludes the CIT report.
All right, any other questions? All right, a presentation.
Yes, ma'am. At this time, we have Ms. Dina Sams, and she's going to give us an update on the 21st century.
Today, I'm going to just be sharing with you some of our results for
our 21st Century Community Learning Center programs. We have 4 21st Century grants, which is a total of 14 sites, and that generates $1.5 million per year for after-school services, serving about 993 students. Who we serve, these are our qualifiers for students to be a part of the program. Of course, we're looking at kids that did not meet standards on our state standardized test, in addition to students that need remediation or credit recovery, students who may be retained due to academics and or attendance. Other at-risk factors to include truancy, disruptive behavior, homelessness. It could be other factors such as special needs, ELL, ESOL. All of those students get priority into the program. And then finally, we also want to serve our families to ensure that we're building that family engagement and trying to connect them to the school and being a part of the process. So just taking a quick look at our demographics. Again, we have 4 grants. Our first grant is ASAP 1. It's made up of Porterdale Elementary, Newton High School, and Middle Ridge. This is a 3-year grant that will end in 2017. We served a total of 211. The majority of the students were African American, and then the majority of them also were free reduced lunch. Same type demographics with ASAP 2. That specific grant is West Newton, Indian Creek, and Washington Street Community Center. Again, it's a 3-year grant. We served 187 students. Of those, 169 were regular attendees. Our target for each of these grants, with the exception of ASAP 4, is 150 students, so we exceeded our targeted number each time. Same breakdown of male and female, majority African American students, and then 90.3% of them are free reduced lunch. The ASAP 3 is made up of Fairview, Flint Hill, East Side. We served 211 students in that particular program, with 165 of them being regular attendees. Breakdown about the same still. We served a few more female than we did male in this one, whereas the others, we had a few more male than female. We served less African American students, had a pretty good mixture of students there, and then 92.4% of those students were also free reduced lunch. Looking at ASAP 4, that grant had 5 sites in it, 4 of our middle schools and then Alcovey High School. It's a 5-year grant ending in 2017. We were targeted to serve 250 students in that particular grant, and we served a total of 384, with 304 of them being regular attendees. Offering remediation, tutoring, and credit recovery, in addition to homework assistance. We also look at the student behavior, a lot of their work habits, and so the second thing that we focus on is character education, prevention education, leadership skills, self-esteem, and those types of things. We also give them opportunities to participate in activities that are non-academic. And that includes a variety of enrichment classes, which you can see there ranged from cosmetology to basket making to tennis to piano. So lots of what the students refer to as the fun stuff. And then finally, we provide support to our families, again, just linking them to the resources that they need so that they can be better supports to their children and support to the school. We offer parent education classes, and we also try to increase their volunteerism. We encourage our parents to be at the schools and to help out, even if it's either in the program or during the day as their schedules allow. So looking at our results and our accountability, I hope you can see that. I tried to put it all in one chart versus doing it individually. As you know, we have 4 broad goals. The first one looks at academics, and we're looking at reading, English language arts, and mathematics and science. Objective 1.1 and 1.3, 1.5 were all related. They're continuing grant, and their objectives are slightly different from what you see here. So looking at objective 1.2 is related to grades in reading, language arts. In each one of our grants, we met the objective by pretty good percentage there. Our target was 45%. As you can see, we ended at 81.2, 82.3, and 74.3. 74.1, I'm sorry, I can't see. Looking at objective 1.4, we're looking at math there. And again, we exceeded what our target was of 45%, and what you see there are the final numbers related to math grades. 1.6 was looking at the science grades. We again exceeded the objective by 73.4 for ASAP 1, 81.4 for ASAP 2, and then 74% for ASAP 3. The final objective you see there is related to our credit recovery courses, and we only had that objective in ASAP 1 and ASAP 3. ASAP 1 is Newton High School, and as you can see, we had 100% of our students that worked on credit recovery to actually complete recover their credits. And then we had 75% of those at Eastside High School. Okay. Our second goal looks at developing responsible behavior, appropriate behavior, as it completed to the teacher's satisfaction. And so what you see there, our projection was that we would, at least 65% of our kids would in fact do that and show those increases there. And as you see right there, the results exceeded our 65%. The teachers actually stated that our students were completing their homework and completing it appropriately. Our second objective looks at the improvement in class participation, because we want to also see that they are being involved in class and not just sitting and not asking questions. And so the teachers also responded that very positively, that our students, they did see an improvement in that area for our students. And the third one talks about behavior. And again, our students showed a lot of improvement in their behavior. Our teachers gave us really great feedback in stating that a lot of the students that participate in the program actually come to class prepared to learn and are not having as many problems in class or exhibiting negative behaviors in class. And part of that is because we really try to work hard to build that relationship with them and make sure that they understand that what they do in the after-school program needs to translate back to the classroom. And so a lot of those kids that we get referred to us for behavior reasons, we want to make sure that they know that we expect good behaviors in the classroom, not just in the after-school program. Our third goal looks at try to give them different exposures to different types of experiences. And so our first objective there looks at their appreciation. We want feedback from them as to if they feel that they're getting out of the enrichment activities what they should. And so for each one of those, we met the objective. Students gave really great feedback about the enrichment activities. Our next objective, we had some problems there. We had some problems primarily because it was the wording of the objective which caused us to have some challenges in measuring it. And so what we have had to do is go back after talking with our outside evaluator, go back and look at rewording it, because the way that objective is written, there were 3 different components that had to be measured that was very difficult to gather the data on. And so we've gone back, we've actually sent an amendment to the state which has been approved to reword that objective, because the truth is Newton County probably took more field trips than anybody. And so when those results came back, everybody was shocked, including the State Department, because we have to send our field trips to them to be approved. And so we were very shocked that the results came back that we did not meet those objectives. But I think rewording that specific one will hopefully resolve that problem. Our fourth goal looks at the family support. And so we wanted to look at the participation from parents and ask them, we wrote in this time that we wanted them to, the other grants actually met the objectives. They had pretty good participation from their parents in getting them to come in and volunteer for various activities. The next one looked at parents attending the educational pieces that we offer, the workshops that we offer. And we met each one of those objectives. We did, in fact, get more than 50% of our parents to actually come and be a part of those educational workshops, which also included some of the Title I activities. We partnered with them to try to make sure we had more offerings and more opportunities for them to come and be a part of the different activities offered by the school. And then the last one is 75% of the parents would give us feedback to say that those classes were beneficial to them, because again, we don't want to offer something that is not really, they don't feel is worthy of their time. And so the parents did in fact say that the activities that we offered, they felt allowed them to better assist their children in their educational endeavors. And so that was really great feedback to get. The parents actually have to complete a survey and give us that data. This is ASAP 4. The goals are the same. The goals are pretty much the same. The measurable objectives are different. Whereas in the other grant, we started out at 45%. In this particular grant, because it's a continuing grant, we raised the bar. Every year we raise the bar. And so they're up to 60%. And so in each one of their objectives, they made 8% in the math grades, 93% with the objective that dealt with the credit recovery, and that was for Alcovey High School. Teachers gave good feedback, as you can see there, and the improvement in homework and things like that, we did see an increase from last year from the teacher feedback in terms of the students doing having complete homework and acceptable homework. And the last one down there looks again at their behavior, and again we got good feedback from the teachers at 88% that they felt that the students were doing well and their behaviors were improving. Third goal again looks at the enrichment piece. And what we said was that in this particular grant, actually science is measured in the enrichment instead of the academic as it was with the first grant. But we were not able to measure that science one because it is related to testing again. But then we did look at the student piece at 3.2, where we looked at science and art and recreation and fitness and the students' appreciation of those types of activities and our offerings in the program. The fourth one again looks at our parent meetings. We did have, our objective was that we would offer a minimum of 5 parent education opportunities at each site, and we met that objective. And I think there's a typo in there, that should be 85.1%. And then the last one is 75% of the parents would report to us that they felt, again, better working with their children at home as a result of having participated in our parent activities. And then, again, we got good feedback from parents on that. Couple of recommendations our evaluator made. He stated that we're making a lot of great progress in terms of making sure that we're aligning what we're doing with the school day, but he wanted us to continue being diligent about having a system of how we're communicating from the day teacher to after school, the things that are needed for our students. So how do we know what the students need to work on? And so we've done that in different ways. It really does vary from school to school based on what works best for them, the system that works best for them. We do have some schools that have assigned mentors, and the mentors communicate with the day teachers. We just have not been able to find a common system that works for everybody. He also wanted us to continue to be diligent about communicating with the building administrators. There were some issues with displacement and our programs being displaced often. And so we wanted to make sure that we kept that strong partnership with our administrators so that we're not displaced as much. New sites, he wanted us to write a philosophy statement for the new sites that's shared with the students, staff, and parents. And so we've already done that. And then provide the sites to share best practices. When we have our coordinator meetings, we always open up with best practices and a time for sharing. Maintain an effort to attract parents to program and volunteer activities, and that's something that's ongoing. And then increase the field trips at the sites that had low participation. We do have 1 or 2 sites that just don't believe in field trips, believe it or not, and so they're just nervous about it. And so we're going to continue to work with them and see if we can get them to take the kids out of the building a little bit. Any questions?
I have one.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Okay, Mr. Turner first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You mentioned that you had a couple of sites that had poor participation in your field trips.
Uh-huh.
And have you identified the reason why?
They are just nervous about it.
They meaning?
The coordinators are just not comfortable taking the kids away from the building. So
If that's something that we as a board want them to do, can't we get them to become participants?
yeah, once they saw the results in the report and realized that they were, a huge part of the problem of us not meeting our objective, they've already started working on it. Matter of fact, they just submitted a proposal to take the kids on a field trip. They're committed to making their 5 field trips this year. So we'll just continue to watch it and make sure that that's what they're doing. Okay. It's been stressed to them that they really need to do that.
One question, are you experiencing any difficulty?
And that could be students who have not performed well on state standardized tests, are failing or have been retained, students that are ELL, ESOL, have barriers that could, potentially cause them not to achieve as others have. And then because our schools are Title I schools, once we've used all of those qualifiers, really any student that wants to participate can. But those students take priority. They're given priority because we have a limited number of slots that are available in the grant.
So a parent could approach the program and say, I want my child to be in this program?
They could.
Yeah, and one last question, I'm sorry, but I think it was ASAP 4.3.2 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The child or the student feels they're I guess essentially the child feels like they're getting something out of the program.
Right.
Is that administered through is that question on a survey? Or
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a student survey, and they also have, well, for this year, they had to complete a survey after each field trip. And then the evaluator, our outside evaluator, also gives them a survey. So essentially what happened was with 900 and something kids filling out a field trip form after every trip, it was massive to try to gather all that data to really be able to effectively measure that objective. So,
All right, moving on to our enrollment report.
Yes, Madam Chair. As of September 2nd, 2015, our enrollment stands at 19,715 students. This same time last year, it was 19,624, so there's an increase of 91 students. And that concludes the enrollment report.
All right, thank you. Believe you've got our old business.
Yes, under old business, we have 7 policies that have been on the table for over 30 days. We're gonna ask that we just take action on these next week at the regular board meeting.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, then moving on to our new business, Mr. Barr, I believe you've got our first three, but we'll start with A.
Good evening. In item A, the superintendent recommends the approval of an intergovernmental agreement to facilitate the acceptance of $5 million in SPLOST 2005 funds as dedicated by the Newton County Board of Commissioners for the renovation and expansion of Porter Hall for the use as a civic center. The agreement provides for the renovation and expansion of Porter Hall using SPLOST funds, the leasing of Porter Hall to the Newton County Board of Commissioners, and the management of Porter Hall by the school. That concludes item A.
All right, excuse me, thank you. Do we have a motion for item A?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to accept item A has been properly motioned, so do we have any questions? There are none, then all in favor, aye?
Aye.
On the exit.
Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. Appreciate it, thank you. All right, moving on to item B.
So in item B, as you may remember, Mr. Ray Moore was here at the August work session and provided you with an overview of some work that might be done, might be considered at Porter Hall, and was here to answer your questions related to that project. So in item B, the superintendent recommends the approval of the renovation and expansion of the Porter Hall facility to include the demolition of the unused portions of the old Newton High facility and the addition of a parking lot and related landscaping at that site. And that is identified in the memo that you see before you as option B, and was presented that way in the work session. And that concludes item B.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to accept item B?
So move.
We have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I have a question. Will the renovation of the facility do away with the shop area? That drawing is not clear, as to my understanding of. There's an entity would like to use the shop area for another reason. And can we postpone that until they have SPLOST money from the county as well, as I understand it,
Okay.
to use that area for the
That's totally-
workforce development program.
Right, and that's totally at the discretion of the board. I would say that the renovation of Newton High as it exists, we've determined would be largely cost prohibitive in the near future. I mean, in really the long term. I don't know that when we would have the funds to renovate it to allow students to be in that building. And then secondly, the cost savings that are generated from the work being done simultaneously, from the demolition of the existing facility and the renovation of Porter Hall.
And what you're saying would be, so if another entity from the county would like to use the shop area, then the cost would be prohibited.
To renovate Newton High to a condition in which it can be inhabited by students, I believe would be cost prohibitive.
All right,
Well, fine, I have no other questions.
okay. All right, well, the motion is to accept item B as the superintendent has presented. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
I abstain.
Just evening.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Lockhart,
Yes, Madam Chair, we have two use of facility requests. The first use of facilities at Eastside High School by Eagle Dugout Club for fall baseball program. Eagle Dugout Club is requesting to use Eastside High from September 1st to November 3rd. The principal and school system supports this use of the facilities agreement, and it is in accordance with board policy. And requesting action for next week.
All right, any questions on this item? All right, if there are none, moving on. Item B.
Next item, superintendent recommends the approval of the attached application for use of school facilities as submitted by Relay for Life. Again, this is in accordance with board policy, and the principal and school system supports this use of facilities agreement.
All right, any questions? Great, thank you. We will take action on this next week. So item F is Dr. Shattuck. And we will need to take action on this item this evening.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
All right.
Good evening. Ms. Fury, Madam Chairwoman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Item F is the purchase of technology infrastructure based on funding sources in order to provide the school systems in Georgia for the infrastructure they need to provide a 21st century education for all students. This particular grant was the second of eventually 4 grants, but it's the second one. The first one we bought a new firewall with. The second one was for what they called Tier 2, which in our terminology was the core switches at every school that connect to the network.
Dr. Shattuck, I'm sorry to interrupt, but are you on item F or are we on item G?
I'm sorry, I was on G, but I mislabeled my pages.
Thank you.
Item F. I was confused when I saw it because I thought I started one way and then changed it. Okay. Item F is the purchase of E-rate subsidized technology infrastructure. Last February, we submitted to the E-rate program a list of infrastructure improvements for all the various schools. This was taken to the board in March, and the board approved for the submission of these proposals to E-rate. Last week, I found out that the infrastructure at Eastside High School is failing. Of this failing infrastructure, then we felt it was prudent that we replace it before we get too far into the school year using the anticipated funds that will come in through the E-rate program. And I've been told by our consultant it should be approved within the next month. So we're going to, this proposal suggests that we pre-fund it with our capital projects money, and then when we do get reimbursed from E-rate, that money will go back into the capital projects. The E-rate pays 80% of this project, and the Newton County share will be 20%.
Okay. Any questions?
And the reason we're asking you to vote on it tonight is because of the critical need to move on this project.
All right.
I have a question, but we have to move it forward.
Right.
So I'm going to move on it.
All right. It's a motion to accept it. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right.
Okay, so my question is, go over the funding again, so we're gonna fund it with capital projects.
Projects, yes.
And then once we receive the E-rate money, we're gonna use that in the place of it.
$1 million was set aside in capital projects for this year to fund the Newton County share of the technology infrastructure, anticipating that we'll get E-rate. And I've been told by our consultant that we will get E-rate.
Okay, so that's because I heard you say anticipating earlier.
Right.
So at one point in time,
95% certain. The money has been approved. We're just going through the question and answer period where they'll look at something and say, oh, okay, how did you do this, for example? Or do you have your share? And we had to show them where our capital projects budget had $1 million for our share of any of the work done. So we're in the process of answering those questions. All those questions that I received were all answered in the summer. I have not received any requests for further questions in the last 6 weeks. So I feel very certain that we'll be receiving funding within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
is that I'm sorry, I got another question. Is that the usual process? So after the question and answer period, then there's a wait period, and then we receive funding?
The period of actually getting answers traditionally in the past has been extremely long. Sometimes it would last over a year. But because of the outcry from the public that it was taking too long to process this, the E-rate system organization has stressed the need to streamline the process and get notification out and funding out much quicker. So that's why I'm relatively sure, or 95% sure, that this funding will be made available in the early fall.
Okay, so I have a concern on just kind of the wait period and the uncertainty. And so then my next question is, what happens if we do not fund this tonight, like as far as the infrastructure?
Equipment and new equipment from 2 different brands.
So then it's more of a cost to us.
Yes.
All right.
I have a question. How many other schools in our district are faced with the same issues as far as not having adequate infrastructure?
Let me figure them out. The Career Academy's fine. The Flint Hill's fine. Newton High School's fine. Mansfield and East Newton are fine. East Side's fine. Oak Hill's fine. Indian Creek's fine. And Veterans is fine. All the rest of them need new equipment.
So we have no other schools other than the one you just mentioned?
The ones I just mentioned are all the ones who have been already upgraded. All the rest of them need to be upgraded.
So, okay, so all the others are adequate?
All the others are adequate. Now, keep in mind, there's $1 million set aside to help fund these projects. And with E-rate comes through, our share is 20%. So that $1 million will help fund the 20% that we have to pay. And with that E-rate, we'll be able to renovate all the schools.
The reason I asked that question is because if there's others that are in the same need, why not go ahead and do those now?
The others are not quite at that critical stage that Alcovy is. I
But-
mean, we can go ahead and fund some others now, but I'd rather wait till E-rate because, I mean, we couldn't do them
But I guess my
right
question,
away because it's going to take time to order all that Alcovy has that was not the ones I mentioned. But they're not, that equipment isn't as old. Alcovy has the oldest equipment.
okay,
For example, South Salem has the same equipment, but they were built in 2008. Live Oak and Liberty were built in 2009, so their equipment is newer.
okay.
Okay. All right, the motion is to approve item F.
So
All in-
moved.
we-
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Now, back to the G, which I started to say before. This is for the purchase of technology infrastructure based upon the Connections for a Classroom grant. As you can see, we're trying to cobble together several different grants in order to achieve our goal of having all the schools renovated. This particular grant replaces what the state calls Tier 2 equipment, and Tier 2 equipment is the edge equipment at each individual location or the equipment that faces the network or the WAN. And so we're replacing all of our core switches or our main switches at every single school. Now, this grant, which we applied for last summer, it gives us the funds to replace 11 schools. One has already been done last spring, and we would like permission at this, one last point. This grant is 100% funding, so it doesn't cost the school system anything.
Great, thank you.
Okay, item number H.
So we can approve this one tonight then, huh? What are we waiting on?
We won't have time to install it. We gotta get Alcoby done first.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I know you and I had a conversation Saturday, was a week ago, maybe that retreat about the moving some of our components, or removing those components and moving some of our applications to the cloud.
Yes.
You are satisfied that we are taking every advantage of that at every opportunity?
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Okay.
Item H.
Mhm.
This is for the renewal of a contract for our internet content filter software. This is the second year of a 3-year agreement for the maintenance fees of our internet content filter. This filter is managed or developed and is the creation of a company called Lightspeed Systems. And the reseller for this product is Traybone Company out of Seattle, Washington. We're going to use a national purchasing cooperative, the PEPIM organization, which we've used on various other products in the past. And we required by law to have a filtering system, and I would want to.
Yes, ma'am. Item I, the superintendent requested the board approve the personnel recommendations made during the executive session.
All right, do we have a motion to accept item I?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, other matters of interest? All right, if there are none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Thank you.